In 1994, a woman was rushed into the emergency room and the staff around her started passing out. Not one, not two, but 6 trained professionals collapsed. This is the true story of Gloria Ramirez, one of history's most baffling medical mysteries in recent history. Gloria Ramirez was a 31-year-old mother of 2, living in Riverside, California. Only 6 weeks before her death, Gloria received the devastating news that she had stage 4 cervical cancer. On the 19th of February 1994, she was rushed in an ambulance to the Riverside General Hospital in California in a very fragile state. Gloria was barely conscious and was having difficulty breathing, only managing shallow, rapid breaths. At 8:15 p.m, Gloria was wheeled into Trauma Room 1, but her condition declined rapidly. Her blood pressure was also decreasing from what was now an irregular heartbeat. Nurses administered sedatives and attempted defibrillation, but that's when the nurses started noticing strange things. When lifting Gloria's shirt, a nurse noticed an oily sheen on Gloria's skin, and her breath had a fruity garlic-like odour. Nurse Susan Kane went on to take a blood sample from Gloria, but after doing so, she recalled a smell of ammonia. Respiratory therapist Maureen Welsh came to investigate, trying to locate where the source of the smell was coming from, confirming it was Gloria's blood on the syringe. They expected it to have more of a rancid smell, which is typical while on chemotherapy medication, but the smell of ammonia just completely threw them off. The blood sample was then passed on to Julie Gorczynski, a medical graduate who noticed strange manila-coloured particles floating in the blood. Just moments after this, these 3 nurses collapsed, one after another.
I asked the nurse to start an IV that about coincidentally at the same time I smelled ammonia. To me it was ammonia, and I kind of made a comment that that's really strong ammonia, and I kind of felt like I was going to pass out then, so I moved around to the other side of the bed to get away from the fumes. In retrospect, which I shouldn't have done, I smelled the blood, and a few seconds later I wasn't feeling good myself, and just remember waking up being helped to be breathed with a mask.
Why would healthy, trained staff begin to faint? Was Gloria releasing something toxic, or maybe there was something else in that room? Nurse Susan Kane was the first. She fainted and had to be carried out. Respiratory therapist Maureen Welsh collapsed next. Then Dr. Julie Gorczynski began experiencing tremors and passed out. In fear of contamination, the entire emergency room was evacuated. All of the staff and all of the patients were sent to the car park, while Gloria remained sealed in her room. Staff kitted out in hazmat suits continued attempting to save Gloria's life, but tragically she passed 40 minutes after arriving at 8:50 p.m. Gloria's last moments were spent alone in a completely sealed hospital room, while hazmat suits surrounded her. A dying woman, isolated, feared, and now misunderstood. In total, 23 of the 37 staff that night experienced symptoms, including a burning sensation to their face, trouble breathing, nausea or vomiting, headaches or uncontrollable tremors. 5 of those 23 staff members were also hospitalised, the worst of which was Julia, the medical graduate, who had spent 2 weeks in intensive care. She also suffered hepatitis, pancreatitis, and a vascular necrosis, which is a condition where the bone tissue is starved of blood. This condition affected Julie's knees, which limited her to crutches for months. Gloria's body was considered just as dangerous even after her death. She was placed in an airtight aluminium casket, and pathologists were also required to wear hazmat suits to carry out their examinations. Her death was officially ruled as kidney failure, brought on by her stage 4 cervical cancer. The public were concerned about what had caused Gloria to become toxic. What caused the staff to become sick? Investigations began within the hospital, but the hazmat team found no evidence of airborne toxins. There were no leaks and no faulty equipment. So what had happened? The health department tried to offer an explanation for the staff members becoming poorly. Coroners carried out 3 different autopsies over a period of time, all of which were described as unremarkable. finding no infectious agent within Gloria that could have caused any type of illnesses or symptoms to spread. This led to the health department to rule the nurse's illnesses as an episode of mass hysteria, essentially claiming that they had all imagined their illnesses, possibly triggered by the order. Understandably, this angered those on the shift that night, especially those who fell ill, considering it an insult to their professionalism. Julie especially rejected this claim. To have all of those conditions that she experienced and spent 2 weeks in intensive care ruled as triggered by her imagination or anxiety, she sued the hospital for $6 million in damages, blaming them for her extreme symptoms. The Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory was asked to help out and take a look to see if they were maybe overlooking anything. They conducted toxicology reports to see what chemicals were in Gloria's system. Painkillers were discovered, which were just expected given her cancer. But there was also an unusual chemical present, dimethyl sulfone, also known as DSMO. DMSO isn't harmful and it is often found in some foods and plants. Today it's sold in hardware stores as an intense degreaser, and it was popular in the 60s or 70s as a home remedy for pain. It leaves an oily sheen with a garlicky smell, which explains Gloria's oily skin and the scent on her breath. This alone, though, didn't explain the staff's illnesses, so they dug a little deeper. Right, are we ready to get a little scientific here? I'm not going to go into the compounds and atoms in detail as I'm no scientist and I don't want to potentially bore you with all of that stuff, nor would I even fully understand what I was talking about. But investigators found that if DSMO gains an additional 2 oxygen atoms, they react to form dimethyl sulfate. This is when the chemical becomes really nasty. The vapours alone can kill cells in your eyes, mouth or lungs, and it's that dangerous that it's considered a war gas. So upon finding this, Livermore Labs suggested that Gloria may have been self-medicating with DMSO. Then once administered oxygen in the ambulance and in the emergency room, they began to react, forming the toxic chemical dimethyl sulfate. The cooler temperature within the emergency room is also said to have been a big factor within this, potentially speeding the process along. The coroner thought that this theory sounded reasonable, so this is what he listed on the final report. But this theory remains controversial and received so much backlash. Many scientists have argued that it would be impossible for hospital oxygen to cause this kind of reaction, and the family have also denied that Gloria used DMSO for pain relief. To this day, there's no scientific consensus regarding Gloria Ramirez's case, and remains a medical mystery. Do you think this mystery will ever be solved? What do you think may have caused the nurses to become so sick? Let me know in the comments. And for more videos just like this one, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos.